morning, but I'm preaching to myself a little bit this morning. I sometimes run ahead of God. Now, nobody in here probably does. I'm probably the only one that has ever done that. But there are times in my life that I don't think God acts fast enough. There are times in my life where I don't think He's doing exactly what I think He should be doing, so I try to give God a little bit of nudge in the right direction. Now, am I the only one that does that? Look at your neighbor and say, wake up. I'm going to get y'all up doing calisthenics here in a minute, okay? Y'all look tired, sleepy. You need to wake up this morning. Because when you run ahead of God, you can become a fool. When you get out of the will of God, things can really go haywire in your life. We're going to look at today Moses, who is brought back into Pharaoh's house. We're going to see that he has a plan in mind. He knows that he's going to be the deliverer for the people of Israel. So he begins to set the plan in motion. Unfortunately, it was his plan. Whose plan was he not in? God's plan. Oh, God had Moses involved. God had a plan for Moses, but it just wasn't happening fast enough for him. So Moses decides to take things into his own hands. So if you are one of those who like to push God's will to the limit, if you're one of those in here this morning who likes to think God is not acting fast enough, then maybe this sermon is for you this morning. Because as we look at the life of Moses, we're going to see very quickly that Moses messes things up fast. He just doesn't do it in a small way, he does it in a very drastic way. But I'm here to tell you this morning, at the end of this story, we'll see the good news that no matter how much you run ahead of God, He can still use you if you let Him. Remember we said last week, God's got it. He's got a plan. Do you trust Him? Do you allow for His time? Do you allow for His will? If you don't, you might find yourself in Moses' predicament. We're going to be looking at Exodus chapter 2, verses 11 through 15. I invite you to stand as we read aloud together the Word of God. I invite you to read along with me. We're going to honor reading God's Word this morning. Join me as we begin in verse 11. We are in the New Living Translation this morning. I invite you to read. Let's read together. Many years later, when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his own people, the Hebrews, and he saw how hard they were forced to work. During his visit, he saw an Egyptian beating one of his fellow Hebrews. After looking in all directions to make sure no one was watching, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. The next day, when Moses went out to visit his people again, he saw two Hebrew men fighting. "Why are you beating up your friend?" Moses said to the one who started the fight. The man replied, "Who appointed you to be our prince and judge? Are you going to kill me as you killed that Egyptian yesterday?" Then Moses was afraid, thinking, "Everyone knows what I did." And sure enough, Pharaoh heard what had happened, and he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian. May God honor the reading of His Word. You may be seated this morning. Now, if you have your Bibles, I'll invite you to turn over to another passage that kind of gives a similar story, but maybe even gives a little more detail and a little more insight into what Moses' mind was. I'm going to invite you to go with me to Acts chapter 7. Acts chapter 7. In this Acts, the book of Acts, Stephen is standing before the Sanhedrin Council, giving them a little Old Testament history lesson about the Jewish people and about why Jesus was the Messiah. If you know anything about the end of Acts chapter 7, because Stephen stands for Christ, he loses his life. But in verses 20 through 29, there's some things that that happened here in the life of Moses that Stephen goes over. And I think it gives us an idea of what we see in Moses' life. It says in verse 20 of Acts chapter 7, "At that time Moses was born, a beautiful child in God's eyes. His parents carried him at home for 3 months. When they had to abandon him, Pharaoh's daughter adopted him and raised him as her own son. Moses was taught all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and he was powerful in both speech and action. One day when Moses was 40 years old, he decided to visit his relatives, the people of Israel. He saw an Egyptian mistreating an Israelite, so Moses came to the man's defense and avenged him, killing the Egyptian. Moses assumed," and that word is a very terrible word, ladies and gentlemen. Assume can get you in a whole lot of trouble. "His fellow Israelites would realize that God had sent him to rescue them, but they didn't. The next day he visited him again, and he saw 2 men of Israel fighting. He tried to be a peacemaker. Men, he said, 'You are brothers. Why are you fighting each other?' But the man in the wrong pushed Moses aside. 'Who made you a ruler and judge over us?' he asked. 'Are you going to kill me as you killed that Egyptian yesterday?' When Moses heard that, he fled the country and lived as a foreigner in the land of Midian. There his 2 sons were born." As you can see, there's a couple of things here that Stephen goes into a little bit more detail about. Moses here is raised in the palace. He's raised with all the knowledge of the Egyptians. He's raised as one of Pharaoh's sons. Matter of fact, Scripture kind of leads us to the fact that when Moses eventually goes back to Egypt, he does not face his father, but instead he faces his brother. When he stands before Pharaoh, he says, "Let my people go." But Moses has an understanding. What is Moses' understanding? The people of Israel are my people. The people of Israel are the one whom I am like. They are my heritage. They are my people. And so I'm going to go out as a big Egyptian ruler, and I'm going to go out and check and see what is going on. So what does he do? He walks out and begins to survey, and he sees an Egyptian beating one of the Israelite slaves. So you notice in Exodus it says, and Scripture says this, Moses looked one way, and he looked another. To see if what? Ladies and gentlemen, you can look every direction you want to and wonder if somebody is watching you. But I'm here to tell you, unless you look upwards, you're not going to find the one that is truly watching you. Amen. You may think you might be getting away with something here on earth. You maybe look to the right, look to the left, and think, "Hey, I've got this thing under control. Everything is good. Nobody's going to see me do this. I've got this thing managed. Here we go. Looking to the right, looking to the left, everything good. Bam! Not walk up and say, "Hey, man, don't be doing that. I'm a prince of Egypt, and I give you orders to stop beating him." No, what does he do? He walks up and kills the man. Now that, to me, is kind of extreme. I don't know about you. That's just my thought. Not stopping a guy, but actually killing him is extreme. But we get an insight into why Moses did that when you read what Stephen said. He said he thought that the people of Israel would see that he would be their deliverer. So, I've got this plan. I'll go out here, I'll make myself a big show in front of the Hebrew people, I'll kill this Egyptian, and then all of them will go, "Hey, look, God's heard our prayers. Moses is here. He's going to take care of us." Moses got this thing all figured out, right? Everything is going according to Moses' plan. So everything is good. He takes the Egyptian body, he goes and he buries it in the sand, and he walks away from the incident. Goes to bed, everything's good, wakes up the next morning, goes out there and he sees 2 of his own fellows fighting. What are you guys fighting for? What are you pushing around on each other for? You know, we probably have something to say like, "Don't you know who your true enemy is in this? Why are you fighting with one another?" another. You know, there's probably a lesson in church unity in that little statement right there, if you really want to find it. Why are we fighting with each other when our true enemy is the devil? Why does the church fight with one another? Now, I'm not talking about just inside one particular church. I'm talking about churches fighting with one another, the Catholics fighting with the Protestants, and the Baptists fighting with the Methodists, and the Methodists fighting with the Presbyterian, and the Presbyterian fighting with the church. It goes on and on. Don't we know who our true enemy is? But that's another sermon in and of itself. Moses said, hey, bring it up, guys. And what did they say? Oh, you're right, Moses. Man, you're God's man. We're sorry, we're here. No, they said, who are you? You gonna kill us like you killed him? All of a sudden, the bells went off in Moses' head. Number one, these people are not ready for me yet. And number two, they know I've done what? I've killed somebody. So if they know, Daddy knows. And who's Daddy? Pharaoh. Pharaoh tries to do what in Exodus? When he finds out, he gets mad, he tries to kill Moses. And what does Moses have to do? Moses has to run. Moses has to flee. Now, brings us to the culmination of what world does this story have to do with you and me? Very simply, what happens to us when we get out of the will of God? There's four things I want to cover with you very quickly this morning. Four things I want to point out to you in the life of Moses that happened because he got ahead of God, he ran ahead of God, he got out of God's will and thought he could accomplish things in his own power. The first one is, very simply, is we cannot do these things in our own strength. We can't accomplish these things in this world that have to be taken on in our own strength. You ever been there in your point of life where things are going well and you look at God and say, hey, I've got this. It's all good. I don't really need you, God. When things get bad again, I might call on you, but I've got this right now, God. I'll take care of this because I'm the man or the woman, okay? Whatever you, no, I'm not even going to say that. I'm getting ready to say whatever you identify with, but that's nonsense. You know, whatever you were born as, okay? But when we look at this, we say, I can do this. I can handle this. Moses says, you know what, God, I've got this. I'll go out, I'll take care of this Egyptian guy. The people of Israel will be excited about me leading, and everything will be good, everything will be wonderful, everything done will be according to your plan, God. You would go. So I go out and take care of things in my own strength, and what happens? You realize you can't. You realize that it's not possible by your strength. It's not possible in your own plan. It's not possible by what you think you can accomplish. Remember we talked about last week, God's got it. Do we trust Him? Moses was 40 years ahead of his time. At 40 years old when Moses went out, Moses didn't go back to Egypt until he was 80 years old. God wasn't ready for Moses to do what he wanted him to do. But Moses wanted to try to get things done in his own power and his own strength. Why? Because he was a prince of Egypt. He was the man. He was the guy. He was the one who thought that everything was going according to his way, and he was ready. Ladies and gentlemen, there are sometimes you step out in your own strength and you are not ready to take on what's out there waiting on you. And for lack of a better term, as soon as you step out of the world, you're going to get jack-slapped. The world's going to smack you down and say, who do you think you are? I'm the man. Yeah, sure you are. Pow. Walk up to the devil and say, I'm the man. And the devil's going to what? He's going to laugh at you. When does the devil take notice? When you say, he's the man. that says, uh-oh, got a problem here. I think Moses, or the devil, had to be laughing at Moses. Because Moses was trying to accomplish things in his own strength. And usually the second part of the sermon is, very simply, when we try to accomplish things in our own strength, we do some stupid stuff, don't we? Nobody is in here has ever had to pay for running ahead of God. Nobody in here has went, oops, that was kind of stupid. What am I thinking? Moses, he kind of took things to extreme. He didn't, like I said, he didn't go out and exercise his authority and power. Moses went out and killed somebody. Now, I kind of look around here. I don't think anybody's quite done that yet. Yes. Brother, we've had some in our congregation who've done that before, but I don't know of any that are in here right now, but there are some who've been on the verge of that. Just speaking, some people's lives, okay? We do some stupid things when we get out of the will of God, when we try to accomplish things in our own power. I can fix my marriage, God, I've got this. I can find my own job, I've got this. I can take care of my own children, I can take care of my own finances. Your children are running amok, your marriage is falling apart, your job's about ready to end, and you ain't got no money in the bank, and you go, help me, God. Happens all the time. Don't sit there and go, it ain't going to happen to me, because a lot of you have been sitting in my office and you told me it's happened to you. Or you've been sitting in my office and hear me say it's happened to me. Man, I've made some bonehead mistakes when I step out in my own power and try to get ahead of God and His will. And when you're all said and done, you sit back there and you go, man, why did I do that? And here's what I usually add, again. Why didn't I learn my lesson the first time around? You know what I'm talking about. As soon as I said, some of you have done some bonehead things, your mind went exactly to what I was talking about. I left a job when I shouldn't have. I divorced my spouse when I didn't wait on God's time. A lot of, you fill the blank, boat, car, house, took out a personal loan, whatever, without seeking the Lord at His time. And then you're sitting there going, wow. Moses, what did he end up with? He ended up with a body in the sand. Some of you end up without a job, without finances. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something. This might make you mad at me, but I'm just going to say it. Sometimes you have issues in your life because the devil is on the attack. You ready for this? And I'm preaching to myself. Remember, I studied this passage for the past few weeks. Some of the things you're in your life right now is because you're stupid and you run ahead of God. And then you go, where's God at? God's sitting up there going, I got a plan for you. You just thought you could accomplish it yourself. Now what are you going to do, Moses? You got a body in the dirt. Hoping nobody finds out about it. And how many, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know if they had telephones or Facebook or what, but within 12 hours, everybody knew. They had to have Facebook. That's on, or Fox News 1 or 2. I don't know which one. But they had to have one of those things. That didn't. You're just starting here today, son. You're not starting on the run. No, I ain't going to. I didn't say it.
I'm not going to say it equals what it.
All right. No, please don't. Okay? But we've done some crazy things. Can we get outside of the will of God? Ladies and gentlemen, some of those mistakes have hurt. You know what I'm talking about? Some of those mistakes cost. You know what I'm talking about? In the middle of one. It's a struggle. And it hurts. We have to stay in the will of God to keep that safety. We have to stay in the will of God and don't think I can accomplish this quicker than God can, because God has the plan. God has a plan to perfect in you, but the question is, do you trust Him? Or are you going to continue to step outside of it and continue to mess it up? What do I do? What do I do? I'm in the midst of this right now. What do I do, God? A couple of steps that I want to do. First of all, it is very simple. Confess that you've done wrong. I know most of you in here. But I know human beings as well. One of the hardest things that we don't like to do is to admit when we're wrong. And there's three little words that come along with that. I am sorry. Moses' mistake turned Moses' life upside down. He went from living in the palace of Pharaoh, possibly being one of them that would be in line for the throne. One mistake running ahead of God places him in the middle of the desert, watching sheep, living in somebody else's house. Wondering, what do I do now? First thing we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, when that time comes, is to admit our wrong before the Lord and say, I'm sorry, I have messed up. I need you. And the second thing we need to realize, this is what you need to hear. Even though you may screw it up, even though you may blow it, God can still use you. Isn't that wonderful about God? And I look at you and I look at my brother sitting back here. You know, he messed it up for a couple of years. Just a little bit. God can still use you, right? Brother over here messed up for a few years. God can still use you, right? Ron messed up for a lot of years. You knew yourself, and I'm not saying anything you don't mind me saying. I said, I don't know why it took me so long to find the path God wanted me on. It may not be the exact plan that God had for your life because you messed some things up. He's not going to magically erase them. He can. But some of you, the only way you learn is you have to go to the school of hard knocks. So God's going to leave a few of those lumps on your head. So next time you go, where? Oh, there's God. Some of you there. Our God, even when we step out of His will, even when we kill somebody and bury them in the sand, I'm not advocating you do that, please. But ladies and gentlemen, it's definition. All we have to do is get back into the alignment with His will. To be honest with you, I think Moses was a better leader because of it. How long does it take God to teach us a lesson? It took Moses 40 years. Of watching somebody else's stinky, smelly sheep out in the middle of the desert. One day, Moses saw a bush that was burning, but was not on fire. When he approached it, God said, Moses, take your shoes off. Because where you are is holy ground. And Moses got to experience something that you and I long for. That is a one-on-one, face-to-bush conversation with Almighty God. Just because you belong doesn't mean God take you. Just because you stepped out of His will doesn't mean God can't bring you back into His will. This man who killed an Egyptian went back before the very throne that sought his life and stood before Pharaoh and said, all these people out here, my people, God's people, we're letting them go. And after 10 disastrous monstrosity plagues that hit their own region, Pharaoh finally said, get out. And Moses led over 1 million people out of their own region. God can use you. Don't stay out of His will. Admit when you're wrong. Come back to Him. And He'll use you. I promise you that. He can still use you. It's easy to get ahead of God. Easy to fall out of His will and stay.